Sarah Chen adjusted her thick-rimmed glasses for the 100th time that morning, the fluorescent lights of the NSA's underground communications center casting harsh shadows across her weathered face. At 34, she had grown accustomed to being the office oddball, the woman with outdated glasses held together by electrical tape, mismatched socks, and a peculiar habit of scribbling cryptographic symbols in a weathered leather notebook during lunch breaks. Her colleagues whispered behind her back, making jokes about her appearance and questioning how someone so disheveled could have ever passed the rigorous security clearance process. What they didn't know was that this same notebook, filled with seemingly random mathematical equations and historical cipher notations, contained secrets that could change the course of national security forever. The worn leather cover bore the scars of countless hours of intensive research, its pages yellowed with age and filled with intricate diagrams that looked like abstract art to most people, but represented years of groundbreaking cryptanalytic work. For 3 long years, Sarah had been relegated to mundane data entry tasks in the basement levels of Fort Meade. Her requests for meaningful cryptanalysis assignments consistently denied by supervisors who saw her as nothing more than a glorified secretary with an advanced mathematics degree from MIT. But on this particular Tuesday morning in November, with winter's first snow beginning to fall on the Maryland landscape above, everything was about to change in ways that would shake the intelligence community to its core. Sarah's journey to this pivotal moment had begun 15 years earlier when she was a promising young cryptographer in the Army's Signal Intelligence Division, fresh out of MIT with dual degrees in mathematics and computer science. Her professors had recognized her exceptional talent for pattern recognition and mathematical analysis, often commenting that her mind worked in ways that defied conventional thinking. During her deployment to Afghanistan in 2010, she had shown remarkable ability in breaking enemy communications, her unconventional methods often producing breakthrough results when traditional approaches failed completely. Her techniques involved combining historical cryptographic principles with cutting-edge mathematical theories, creating hybrid approaches that seemed to come from intuition rather than standard protocol. However, her superiors grew increasingly uncomfortable with her unorthodox methods and her reluctance to share the complete details of her methodology, viewing her secretiveness as insubordination rather than protecting valuable intellectual property. The military intelligence community valued conformity and standardized procedures, and Sarah's innovative approaches made career officers nervous about their ability to replicate and control her work. Her breakthrough moment came when she successfully decoded a series of Taliban communications that had stumped entire teams of senior cryptanalysts, revealing the location of a high-value target that led to a successful special operations raid. But instead of celebration, her success brought unwanted scrutiny from superiors who wanted to understand exactly how she had achieved what their most advanced computer systems could not accomplish in months of processing time. The beginning of Sarah's downfall occurred after a classified incident in 2019 involving a high-level intelligence breach that was wrongly attributed to her cryptanalytic work on a joint CIA-NSA operation in Syria. The mission involved intercepting communications between Iranian Revolutionary Guard operatives and their contacts in Lebanon, intelligence that was crucial for preventing weapons shipments to Hezbollah. Sarah had successfully broken their encryption system, but when the operation was compromised and 3 undercover agents were captured, military leadership needed someone to blame for the security failure. Her commanding officer at the time, Colonel Marcus Webb, had personal reasons for making Sarah the scapegoat. She had previously discovered irregularities in his handling of classified intelligence, irregularities that suggested he might be selling information to foreign contacts. Rather than face investigation himself, Webb falsified reports suggesting that Sarah's unconventional decryption methods had somehow alerted the enemy to American intelligence capabilities. The official record stated, that she had made critical errors in protocol that compromised operational security, though the truth was far more complex and politically inconvenient for those who wanted simple explanations for complex failures. Webb's influence in the intelligence community ensured that Sarah's version of events would never be officially heard, and her reputation was quietly destroyed through whispered conversations in Pentagon corridors and carefully worded fitness reports that questioned her judgment and reliability. She never fought the charges directly, knowing that defending herself would require revealing cryptographic methods she wasn't ready to share and would likely result in even more severe punishment for those she had exposed. The morning briefing on that fateful November day crackled with tension as Director Patricia Hawkins addressed the packed conference room in the NSA's Secure Operations Center, her usually calm demeanor replaced by visible stress and urgency. Intelligence agencies across the globe had intercepted a series of coded messages over the past 72 hours, all originating from different international locations, but sharing an identical encryption signature that suggested coordination from a single source. The messages appeared to be orchestrating something massive. Detailed coordinates for weapons caches, personnel movement schedules, financial transaction codes, and timing sequences that intelligence analysts believed indicated preparation for an imminent large-scale terrorist operation against American targets. Every major intelligence agency had immediately thrown their best resources at cracking the code, including the NSA's most advanced Cray supercomputers, the CIA's experimental quantum processing arrays, and even borrowed computing time from the Pentagon's most classified artificial intelligence systems. Despite this unprecedented computational assault, the cipher remained completely impenetrable, seeming to adapt and evolve with each decryption attempt in ways that defied conventional understanding of cryptographic systems. The encryption appeared to combine elements of classical historical ciphers with quantum-resistant algorithms, creating a hybrid system that was unlike anything intelligence agencies had encountered in decades of signals intelligence work. Most disturbing was the accelerating frequency of the transmissions, which had increased from one message per day to one every 4 hours, strongly suggesting that whatever operation was being coordinated was moving rapidly toward execution phase, and that time was running out for American intelligence agencies to prevent a potentially catastrophic attack on domestic soil. As Sarah sat in her cramped cubicle in the basement level of the communications center, mechanically processing routine signal intelligence logs and trying to ignore the condescending glances from her younger colleagues, she couldn't help but overhear the increasingly heated discussions between senior analysts working on the mysterious cipher. The breakthrough case was all anyone could talk about, and she found herself unconsciously sketching mathematical patterns in her notebook, patterns that seemed strangely familiar from her years of historical cryptographic research. During her solitary lunch break, eaten at her desk while others gathered in the cafeteria to discuss the crisis, she walked past the secure analysis room where a team of the NSA's top cryptographers huddled around multiple high-resolution monitors, their faces etched with frustration after 18 hours of continuous failed attempts. Through the reinforced security glass, she caught a glimpse of the encoded message they were working on, and something in the symbol arrangement made her heart skip a beat and her hands tremble with recognition. The sequence wasn't random at all. It followed a specific mathematical progression she had seen before, hidden deep within the historical cipher systems she studied as both professional research and personal obsession during her years of exile from meaningful intelligence work. Her notebook contained extensive analysis of obscure World War II-era German cryptographic systems, particularly focusing on experimental codes that were developed by Nazi cryptographers but never fully implemented because the war ended before they could be deployed in the field. The arrangement displayed on those monitors matched theoretical frameworks she had painstakingly mapped out years ago, connecting dots between historical systems and modern cryptographic principles in ways that no one else had ever attempted or even considered possible. The breakthrough moment arrived at exactly 3:17 p.m. when Sarah, unable to contain her growing certainty any longer, made the difficult decision to approach Dr. James Morrison, the NSA's lead cryptanalyst, who had been struggling with the cipher for nearly 20 consecutive hours. Her hands trembled with a mixture of excitement and terror as she opened her weathered leather notebook, revealing pages covered in complex mathematical notations, symbol translation tables, and cryptographic decision trees that resembled abstract expressionist artwork to most observers, but represented years of meticulous theoretical research. "I believe I might be able to provide assistance with your current challenge," she said quietly, her voice barely audible above the constant hum of cooling systems and computing equipment that filled the secure facility. Dr. Morrison looked up from his monitor, his eyes bloodshot and strained from staring at indecipherable code sequences, and his first instinct was complete dismissal until he actually examined the intricate diagrams and mathematical proofs contained within Sarah's notebook. The symbols and theoretical frameworks she had been developing matched specific elements of the encrypted message with uncanny precision, revealing connections and patterns that his team's advanced computer systems had completely missed. As she began explaining her analytical approach, speaking rapidly and pointing to specific notations while her confidence grew with each passing minute, Morrison realized they were looking at years of specialized research that represented exactly the type of unconventional thinking their standard approaches had failed to provide. Within 10 minutes, senior staff members were gathering around Sarah's cubicle, their initial skepticism gradually transforming into amazement as she demonstrated mathematical relationships and historical connections they had never considered, let alone attempted to incorporate into their decryption methodologies. Sarah's fingers moved across the keyboard with increasing speed and precision as she input her unique decryption algorithm into the NSA's most powerful computer systems, her thick glasses reflecting the glow of multiple monitors that had been hastily configured around her previously ignored workstation. The analysis room fell into complete silence, except for the rhythmic clicking of keys and the low, steady hum of processing units working at maximum computational capacity to execute her unconventional approach. Her methodology was fundamentally different from anything the other analysts had attempted. Instead of treating the cipher as a purely mathematical problem to be solved through brute force computational power, she recognized it as an ingenious fusion of historical cryptographic principles with cutting-edge quantum encryption techniques. The critical breakthrough came when she realized that the enemy network had based their communication system on a theoretical Nazi cipher known as Annenerbe 7, which had been developed by SS cryptographers in the final months of World War II, but never implemented because Germany's collapse prevented its deployment. Her years of historical research had given her unique insight into how this theoretical system would function when combined with modern quantum-resistant algorithms, creating a hybrid approach that was virtually invisible to conventional cryptanalytic methods. As the first message began to decode, revealing specific coordinates for weapons caches hidden in major American cities, the true magnitude of what they were facing became crystal clear to everyone in the room. The intelligence breach from 2019 that had destroyed her career hadn't been her fault at all. It had actually been an early test by this same enemy network to assess their communication system's effectiveness against NSA capabilities, with her successful decryption serving as proof that their methods needed to be upgraded before launching their main operation. The fully decoded messages revealed a chilling and comprehensive picture that exceeded the worst-case scenarios intelligence agencies had been considering. A meticulously coordinated attack planned for Thanksgiving Day, involving simultaneous strikes on transportation infrastructure, communication hubs, and government facilities across 12 major American cities. The enemy network had been communicating undetected for over 8 months, systematically moving weapons and personnel into position while federal law enforcement and intelligence agencies remained completely blind to their activities and preparations. Sarah's decryption work revealed not just the operational details and attack timelines, but also the complete identities of deep-cover operatives who had successfully infiltrated various government agencies, including several high-ranking positions within the intelligence community itself. The conspiracy reached much higher than anyone had dared to imagine, with clear evidence pointing to coordinated efforts between hostile foreign state actors and domestic extremist groups who had found common ground in their desire to inflict maximum damage on American society. As each successive message was decoded and analyzed, the scope of the planned attack became increasingly horrifying. The terrorists weren't simply targeting infrastructure and government facilities, but had specifically designed their operation to create maximum civilian casualties during one of America's most celebrated family holidays, when millions would be traveling and gathering in predictable locations. Sarah worked without breaks for the next 6 hours, her hands remaining steady despite the enormous pressure, knowing that every minute that passed brought the attack date closer and reduced the time available for law enforcement agencies to respond effectively. Her notebook, once dismissed and mocked as the eccentric scribblings of an office outcast, had suddenly become the most valuable intelligence asset in the entire country, holding the key to preventing what could have been the deadliest terrorist attack in American history. The final decoded message contained the attack's specific trigger codes and timing sequences, but more importantly, it revealed the network's critical operational weakness that Sarah was uniquely positioned to exploit. Their sophisticated communication system required regular authentication signals to maintain operational security, and she had discovered a method to disrupt those signals without alerting the operatives to the fact that their communications had been completely compromised. Working in close coordination with FBI counterterrorism units and CIA domestic operations teams, law enforcement agencies executed simultaneous raids at precisely coordinated times across the country, successfully apprehending the terrorist operatives and securing their weapons stockpiles before any component of the attack could be implemented. Sarah's cryptanalytic breakthrough had not only prevented what intelligence analysts later determined would have been a catastrophic attack, causing thousands of casualties, but had also exposed the deepest and most sophisticated intelligence infiltration operation in American history. Colonel Marcus Webb, the same officer who had systematically destroyed her career 5 years earlier to cover his own criminal activities, was among the first individuals arrested when the decoded messages explicitly revealed his role as a key facilitator and intelligence source for the enemy network. As news of the successful counterterrorism operation spread rapidly through the intelligence community, Sarah found herself at the center of attention she had never wanted and had certainly never expected, but her crucial contribution could no longer be ignored, dismissed, or attributed to others. Her innovative methods were immediately classified at the highest possible levels, and she was quietly reinstated to her former position with full honors and security clearance restoration, though the general public would never know her name or understand her decisive role in preventing a national disaster that could have changed the course of American history. Sarah carefully returned her weathered leather notebook to her desk drawer, closing it gently as she looked around the communications center that had transformed from a place of exile into the site of her greatest professional triumph. The thick-rimmed glasses that had once made her a target of workplace mockery and condescending jokes were now regarded as the distinctive trademark of the woman who had saved countless American lives through her unique combination of historical knowledge and mathematical genius. Her colleagues no longer snickered when she walked through the corridors or made dismissive comments about her unconventional appearance. Instead, they watched her with a mixture of respect and curiosity, wondering what other secrets and capabilities might be hidden in the quiet, unassuming minds of those they had previously overlooked and underestimated. The intelligence community had learned a valuable and potentially transformative lesson about the serious dangers of judging people based on superficial appearances rather than actual capabilities and expertise. Sarah's story would become a classified legend within the NSA, a reminder that brilliance and heroism often come in unexpected packages, and that the individuals others dismiss as outcasts or misfits might actually be the ones who hold the keys to protecting everything society holds most dear.